What is up, everybody? It is Rethink Reality. We are back with another one. We're dialed in, Scatty. How you feeling over there? You're looking like a whole nut, baby. Yeah. Yeah, this is our fantasy football season, baby. We're dialed in on all cylinders right now. We've been shooting out some videos, so make sure if you're watching these videos to give us a thumbs down, click the report button, and make sure to not let this page grow, okay?
Support, don't support.
Yeah, exactly. We need to get a T-shirt, baby. Don't, or just report us. Don't support us. Yes, that we need to get
Yeah.
that branded on the T-shirt. But today we are talking about candidates that you need to trade high on after the first couple of weeks. And when I say trade high on, what I mean by is this: these people are going to be performing at a little bit higher expectations than everyone thought, and you need to get rid of them while their value's high because they are going to fall off a cliff and hit their face. And we're also too going to talk about. Scotty will talk about it a little bit. You'll have to wait a little bit later in the episode. But we're also going to talk about one candidate that you probably just need to just get rid of while there might be a possibility of his possible outcome for the season. So, Scotty, why don't you start us off with the juice, baby? Who are we trading high on after these first couple weeks?
Yeah, so if you look at the Miami running back situation, they're kind
Yeah, it's
of all over the
atrocious.
place. Yeah, they're kind of all over the place because Jeff Wilson just landed on the IR, and
Yeah,
as well as A-Chain's kind of banged up right now. And
yeah,
he's a rookie, if I'm not mistaken, right?
yeah, he is.
Yeah. So who knows how many snaps he's going to be getting. The prime back to lead them, and he's got the clear starting role right now is Raheem Mostert.
Yeah.
So I actually picked him up off waivers in my work league, and I was surprised no one got him off
Yeah.
waivers. Maybe they're just not in tune with what's going on, but that's a good trade piece to potentially deal just because of the usage he's going to see
Oh,
in
yeah.
week one, two, and three, at least
Yeah.
until Jeff Wilson gets back. I mean, I understand you have probably arguably the best wide receiver in the league, and Jalen Waddle there
Yeah.
in a heavy pass offense, but every team runs the ball. I mean, they're going to have to run the ball, and maybe Tua will check it down just because that offensive line is terrible, so he's not going to have enough time to get rid of
Yeah,
it.
I
So I
mean
think,
this is a great situation right now. I mean, it's not going to be people interchange. Like you look at Philly's backfield, there's so many backs back there. It's literally just Mostert. So you're getting a RB1. Devon Achane is there, but like you said, he's injured right now. Jeff Wilson, he's injured right now. So I think it's a great pick, especially too because Mostert is most likely to get injured at some point in the season. He's always had a kind of a issue with injuries, so he's probably going to start off maybe decent, a little bit hotter than what he should, and then that's when you release that bad
that's
boy.
when
And
you
that's why I'm
wheel
going to
and deal
jump right
'em.
in. Huh? What did you say, baby?
So that's when you wheel him and deal him like a whore on a string.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Scotty's a wheeling dealer in our league. He's already trying to. He's already sent out a couple trades, and we haven't even. We just finished our draft, so yeah,
I
he's
still
so
haven't come
wheeling and dealing.
after the draft. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He didn't want to. He wanted to stop. So I'm gonna jump into one of my top ones. It is Jamal Williams, baby. Kamara is suspended for
Ooh.
3 games. So guess what? Who's gonna eat in this backfield? Well, currently the other running back in this backfield is I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head, but he went to TCU and he's a rookie this year, but he has been struggling with issues all offseason. He's been in and out of issues, and right now Jamal's kind of the last man standing for this first couple of weeks. So what I think it's Roshan Johnson if I remember right. I think that's his name. What he has to do is he is going to be sitting here getting all the goal line work. He's going to be getting a lot of the. I mean, I think it's just a lot of the work in general. And everyone knows how Jamal Williams is. I mean, Scotty, you had him last year, right? How did he do for your fantasy team?
He was good. He was scoring 2 touchdowns a week, pretty much. It seemed
Hell
like.
yeah. Hell yeah. And if you look at the Saints team, right now they're projected to win their division. So they're playing Carolina, I believe, or I can't remember. I think they're playing Tennessee this week. So it could be a possibility they get up quick and, they're going to start running the ball. So I like Jamal Williams a lot. I think he's a great little kind of rent player, and then you just trade him super high when Kamara's about to come back and just kind of let people decide for that for themselves.
Yeah, and getting into the second one I got, and I think we both agreed on before the pod started, was Dalvin Cook. With the,
Yeah.
with the injury to Brees Hall,
Oh, yeah.
he's gonna see a lot of usage. I've actually had a couple trades. I fielded a couple trades. People on Dalvin,
Oh, really?
maybe oh yeah, Drew offered him, and I think Leo actually just sent me a trade too for him. But
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah,
What
so
did Leo send you for it?
I think it was like he wanted to give me like a receiver for him, and I
Okay.
was like, or no, maybe it was Connor Davis. Maybe he sent me a trade for
Okay.
him. Someone was wanting to give me a wide receiver, and my wide receiving core right now is kind of goated. So I'm
Okay.
not gonna really. I don't know if I want to give that up. But back to the
Yeah.
video. Dalvin Cook with the injury to Brees Hall, he's going to see a lot of usage in his first couple weeks. And the problem with Dalvin, he's just gotten progressively worse every year. Like he could be like
Yeah.
a Jamal Williams, where he's like a goal line back as he was with the Lions.
Possibly.
DeAndre Swift kind of caught passes, but especially these first couple weeks, it's going to be heavy usage with Brees Hall down,
Yeah.
and I mean every team has to run the ball, like we said. So why are you high on Dalvin?
So Aaron Rodgers, he went into the darkness. Brees Hall was hurt, and he felt around, and all of a sudden he picked with his fingers Dalvin Cook out of thin air, and he hand selected Dalvin Cook. Y'all don't realize this. He actually went out like they were talking about this. He renegotiated his contract to add up some cap. They went and got Dalvin to help this backfield because they're trying to push for a Super Bowl. So who wouldn't want a running back that was hand selected by Aaron Rodgers to fit their offense that he wants to use, who he loves dumping off? I mean, look at Aaron Jones. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Dalvin is the old Dalvin, but guess what? Any value target from Aaron Rodgers, like if you look at all the receivers in the past, all the targets that were given in like Christian Watson, like trying to think Devontae Adams, like even just I'm just naming off wide receivers, but just in general, any kind of target back in the day with Aaron Rodgers has always increased the value of anyone who's catching, and that's going to be the same for people like Garrett Wilson this year, possibly a little bit of Lazard and Conklin, but. You look at this backfield, you're trying to figure this out. Brees Hall could probably win you the league as far as 15, 16, 17 weeks. But this early season is going to be Dalvin Cook, and they're going to nurse Brees in. So I really like Dalvin for that sense. I kind of went on a
Yeah,
tangent a little bit there. But
yeah. So say your last pick though, then we can get into the controversial one we were talking about.
okay. So my next one I'm going to roll in is the boy, Big Cleveland Steamer. OBJ, baby. OBJ. Yes, sir. I think he is a great person to trade high on because he is most likely to get injured at some point. Coming back off a second knee injury, he's already kind of struggling with that certain injury. I mean, he's super susceptible to it. I don't even know how exactly old he is, but I know he is getting close to 30, if not in that range where wide receivers tend to start to fall off. So I think you can get OBJ and he's going to perform in the first couple weeks. Lamar likes him a lot. He talks about it a lot in camp. And as he's performing in these first couple weeks, try to find ways. Maybe someone in your league likes OBJ a lot. Maybe they had him in the past. Like, understand your league a little bit here because there's been times even for me when I've traded people, I trade them to certain people who I know who they liked him or they've had him on their team. So OBJ is a great target to trade after he goes off for the first couple weeks and then forget about him because you're not going to deal with him in the back half of the season.
Yeah, and getting into my last one, we can get into this is Jonathan Taylor. I
Yeah.
think Jonathan Taylor holds some value at this moment in time because really, well, it depends on how you look at it because I have him on my team, and I drafted him.
Yeah.
We,
Reiterate to everybody when you took him.
we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
The
But
second round, if anybody wanted to know. Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
hopeful, all
nice.
right. But
Yeah, very.
you should. It depends on how you look at him. If you're a pessimist and you think that he's not going to play after like the first
Yeah.
4 weeks, because he's out regardless for 4 weeks due to league rules. Now, whether he holds out longer or the GM doesn't let him play or he seeks a trade and that trade process takes another couple weeks or he gets right into it, I don't know. That's what you're taking a chance on. So it depends on how you look at the situation. I mean, really, no one knows except for Jonathan Taylor and his agent and maybe the
Yeah.
GM and the people around him. So it really
Yeah.
just, I mean, it's just kind of wait and see. But while we're waiting and seeing, if he has any sort of value, I think it's right now because people know, maybe people who don't really play fantasy, maybe you're in like a work league and you might be able
Yeah.
to see a brand name and they see Jonathan Taylor and they're like, oh shit, Jonathan Taylor,
Yeah.
he'll be back in 3 or 4 weeks or whatever it is. Let me trade for him. Maybe you can take advantage of the scrubs in your league. I don't know, but
Yeah,
what do you see on
possibly.
Jonathan
The only
Taylor?
time I think he's going to have value is right before that pub list, that 4 weeks hits, because right before there's going to be hope and optimistic. Okay, he's coming back. The same way with D Hop, like he got off suspension and then he's coming back. Everyone started, people wanted to start investing in D Hop. They didn't want to invest in him when it was week one. I don't think people were going to want to invest in. I don't think people are going to want to invest in Taylor in week one. They're going to start looking at that week 3 when he's supposed to be coming back and like, okay, I could take a shot on this right now. And say, for instance, if he comes back, This is league winning upside. And you just preach to him how much league winning is because he went number one overall last year. I mean, this is someone who was doing the damn thing literally last year. This is not like 2-year gap or a 3-year gap, literally last year. So you just kind of got to finagle that a little bit and just give him that optimism. And I think this is someone you could trade for high at that point.
Yeah. And it really this whole situation is just really confusing because no one knows when he's coming back. So, like, if you have him on your team right now, let's say you drafted him way too high like I did, do you keep him or do you try to deal him? Because right now, if you try to deal him, you're probably not going to get anything in return. Like, I had a trade. Someone offered me in my work league Jonathan Taylor for David Montgomery. And then, I was like...
You sure they weren't just trying to piss you off? Like, you piece of shit, you took such a bad pick, here you go.
I mean, at least David Montgomery is, like, projected points this week, but it's like... like you said, it might go up with how the weeks go along, depending on what news we get. His value, like you might instead of getting Dave Montgomery before the season starts, you might be able to trade Jonathan Taylor for like a Ramondre Stevenson or somebody like that. I don't know, but it just really just has to wait and see how the situation goes.
Yeah, I think it's just going to have to be time's going to be the best factor for you if he's on your team, and just give it a little bit of time, let it rest a little bit. He's going to play at some point. I feel like this year, I just don't know when. It's going to be some point. They need someone in that backfield. So he's going to play at some point. So just hold on to him because that's about all you can do right now. Hopefully you didn't get him in the second round. But to move on, I guess to my final one, and I'll give one little bonus one. I think Pirine will be very good starting off. So Jamal Williams is someone. So Sean Payton loves his running backs. He's always got some good fantasy production out of his running backs. And Pirine is someone who is coming off into right now to help out in the situation that they're in. Jamal Williams, I can't remember exactly the injury he had, but it was multiple ligaments that were tore in his knee. So it was pretty crazy. Like, no one thought he was going to be back this soon. No one thought he was going to be in preseason. No one thought he was going to really be moving like he is. But he is moving along. And I would assume with that young talent, Sean Payton is not going to say, hey, let's just give it full gas week one. They're not going to do that because they're trying to compete for the playoffs over there. They're not trying to compete just to win a game. So what they're going to do is they're going to allow him, kind of nurse him back. And I think the first couple of weeks, Pirine is going to really kind of take that back role as far as running backs go. And I think right now he's like projecting him as 12.3. So he's almost projected someone like David Montgomery. So they're expecting him to do something. And I think this would be a great target as far as for your first couple of weeks. And after that, kind of just ship him off to somebody. Or like Scotty said, a lot of these people we're talking about are good trade package people. Like, for instance, you add a couple, then you put this little target on there. You say, hey, what about I'll throw this guy in there too. He's been popping off. You know, it's kind of like that sometimes might get them over the hill on some of these trades when you're trying to manufacture them in your league. And the bonus one I will give is Michael Thomas. I think Michael Thomas. Because the reason why is he will not stay healthy for a full season. But I think right now he's projected to play week one. If he's on the field, he's going to get some points. I guarantee he's going to get some points. That's what he did last year and the year before. When he got on, he got points. But damn if he stayed on. He will not stay on. I don't know what you think about that. But I think that would be great because Derek Carr likes to sling it. He's got Lave and then Michael Thomas and some tight ends. But I don't know. I think Michael Thomas would be a great person to ship off pretty quick if you have him on your team.
Yeah, I could see him like a flex role, but I don't think I'd start him on my team, depending on the receivers you get. But maybe like a fringe WR2 flex play for Michael Thomas if you got him. But
yeah, these are for more people who went RB heavy in the beginning, at least for the Michael Thomas one. This is not, say, for instance, if you went wide receiver, you're not. He's not going to really have use there unless you package him to someone who went RB, and then you're helping them out maybe with the flex. So, yeah, and that's another thing, too. When you're doing these trades, just make sure to understand who you're trading with because it's not you don't just trade player for player. You got to understand situation and everything. It makes sense. But, these are people that you need to trade high on. We're dialing y'all in. We're keeping it going. And like we said, do not support us, baby. Report us, get us banned.
Come on, there wasn't enough on the last video. I want some more.
There was not enough hate comments. We only got like 10. So
we only got 10 hate comments. I want some more.
We need 20, man. Push us to the edge. Come on now. Make us really feel bad about ourselves.
Hey, make me want to jump off the balcony, huh? Make me want to jump off.
Oh shit! But yeah, this is Rethink Reality. We are a very edgy, fun fantasy podcast. So if you like this kind of stuff, be sure to tap in because we're going to keep it dialed up. So yeah, thank y'all for coming, and we'll see y'all in the next one.